Let me ask you something. How many times did you wake up last night? Once? Twice? Maybe 3 times, dragging yourself to the bathroom and then lying there wide awake, staring at the ceiling until the sky started getting light? If that sounds familiar, I want you to stay with me. Because what I'm about to share with you has nothing to do with drinking less water before bed, nothing to do with stress, nothing to do with your age, at least not in the way you've been told. It has everything to do with something you may have been mixing with honey thinking it was helping you sleep, thinking it was good for your heart, and it's doing the exact opposite. Stay with me, because tonight could be the first night in a long time that you actually sleep through. Here's what most people believe about nighttime waking after 60. They believe it's simply aging. The bladder weakens, sleep gets lighter, you wake up more. That's just how it is. I've heard that explanation so many times, and for years I accepted it too. But here's what I've learned after more than 20 years working with older adults in preventive medicine. Most nighttime waking after 60 is not structural. It's not inevitable. It's not permanent. It's driven by specific biological disruptions. Disruptions that have a direct cause. And in many cases, that cause is sitting on your kitchen counter mixed into your evening routine. The wrong combination, the wrong timing, repeated every night. And your heart, your sleep, and your bladder are all paying the price. My name is Dr. Ben Bates. I've spent over 20 years in preventive medicine, focused specifically on adults over 60. I've worked with sleep specialists, cardiologists, and urologists. I've reviewed the patterns that repeat themselves across thousands of patient histories, and I've seen something that rarely gets discussed clearly. The evening habits that people adopt specifically to improve sleep are often the exact habits that are preventing it. That's what I want to change for you today. Before I get to the specific combination, let me explain what's actually happening inside your body on the nights you can't stay asleep. Because once you understand this, everything else will make sense. Your brain has a very specific job during sleep. One of its most important nighttime tasks is releasing a hormone that signals your kidneys to slow down, to produce less urine, to let your body rest without interruption. In a healthy younger body, that signal is strong and consistent. You sleep 6, 7, 8 hours. You wake once, maybe not at all. But after 60, 2 things happen. First, that hormonal signal weakens. The brain needs more energy to produce it reliably. Second, the body becomes significantly less efficient at holding fluid in the bloodstream overnight. Water moves more easily into the kidneys and from there into the bladder. So the bladder fills faster, and the signal to hold it through the night becomes weaker and less reliable. The result? You wake at 2 a.m., then again at 4, sometimes again at 5:30. And every time you wake, your heart rate jumps slightly, your blood pressure spikes briefly, your body activates its alert system, the same system designed for emergencies, night after night, for years. That repeated cardiac activation during sleep hours is not benign. It contributes to elevated nighttime blood pressure, one of the most underdiagnosed cardiovascular risks in adults over 60. And it disrupts the deep restorative sleep stages where your heart, brain, and immune system do their most critical repair work. This is why poor sleep after 60 is not just uncomfortable, it's a cardiovascular issue. And now, I want to tell you exactly what's making it worse. Starting with the combination nobody warned you about, honey and salt. Separately, both have real value when used correctly. But here's what I need you to understand. The way most people mix these 2 things before bed, and what they combine them with, creates a biochemical problem that directly interferes with the very hormonal signal I just described. Let me walk you through it. Honey, pure, raw honey, contains natural sugars that the brain can use as fuel during sleep. This is real. When the brain has steady fuel overnight, it maintains the hormonal signaling that reduces nighttime urine production. That's the benefit. But here's where the mistake happens. Most people don't take honey alone. They mix it into warm milk, into herbal teas with artificial sweeteners added, into warm drinks with processed ingredients. Or, and this is the one that concerns me most, they take it alongside their evening medications and a large glass of water all at once. Each of these combinations disrupts the benefit in a specific, measurable way. Let me explain each one. Honey mixed into warm cow's milk before bed. This feels like the most natural, soothing combination imaginable. Generations of people were told warm milk helps you sleep. And here's the problem that almost nobody mentions. Cow's milk, particularly in the amounts most people drink, contains a significant protein load that your digestive system has to process during sleep. After 60, digestion slows considerably overnight. When the digestive system is actively working to break down milk protein, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, the alert system, the same system that's supposed to be quieting down for deep sleep. Your heart rate stays slightly elevated. Your core body temperature doesn't drop the way it needs to for deep sleep to occur. And here's the specific connection to nighttime waking. Milk digestion produces compounds that compete with the natural sugars in honey for absorption across the intestinal wall. The honey's fuel delivery to the brain, the thing you were counting on, gets delayed and diluted. The brain doesn't receive the steady signal it needs. The hormonal message to slow urine production weakens. And at 2 a.m., you're awake again. I've had patients who were drinking warm milk with honey every night for years, convinced it was helping them sleep, switch to honey and warm water alone and report dramatic improvement within 3 nights. Not weeks, 3 nights. I'll tell you about one of them in a moment. Honey mixed with processed herbal tea blends. Most packaged sleepy time teas contain chamomile, lavender, and valerian root, all of which have genuine mild relaxing properties. But flip the box over. Look at the ingredient list on many of the popular commercial blends. You'll often find added natural flavors, citric acid, and in some blends, small amounts of artificial sweeteners used to improve palatability. Here's why that matters. Artificial sweeteners, even in small amounts, trigger an insulin response in the body without delivering actual glucose. Your pancreas releases insulin. Blood sugar drops slightly below baseline, and when blood sugar dips during the night, even mildly, the brain registers a mild energy shortage. It activates a stress response to compensate. Cortisol rises slightly. The body enters a lighter stage of sleep, or wakes entirely. So you made yourself a relaxing tea with honey. And the sweetener in the tea created the exact biochemical condition that caused you to wake up 2 hours later. I know this sounds almost too simple to be the explanation, but I've seen it resolve nighttime waking in patient after patient once they switch to pure, unsweetened chamomile or linden flower tea with a single teaspoon of raw honey and nothing else. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Beverly, 72 years old, retired pharmacist, meticulous about her health. She knew her medications. She read labels carefully. She came to me exhausted. She was waking 2 to 3 times every night, heart pounding slightly each time. Bathroom visit, then 45 minutes lying awake before drifting back down. She had been doing the same bedtime routine for 2 years, a large mug of a commercial sleep blend tea, 2 teaspoons of honey, and her evening blood pressure medication washed down with a full glass of water. All at once, every night. Same routine. When I walked her through what I just explained to you, the artificial sweetener in the tea, the timing of the water alongside her medication, the volume of fluid arriving at the kidneys all at once, she looked at me like something had finally clicked. I thought I was doing everything right, she said. We made 3 changes. Pure linden flower tea, no additives, no flavors. 1 teaspoon of raw honey, stirred in when the tea was warm but not boiling. Her evening medication taken 30 minutes earlier, separately, with a small amount of water. Within 4 days, she called me. She had slept through the night twice, and on the night she did wake, she fell back asleep in minutes. I've been fighting this for 2 years, she said. I can't believe it was the tea. It wasn't just the tea, it was the combination and the timing. Both matter enormously after 60. Now let me get to the third combination, and this one is the most important for your heart. Honey taken at the same time as a large evening fluid load. Here's what I see constantly in patients over 60. They've been told to stay hydrated, so they drink a full glass of water with everything, their evening supplements, their medication, their honey drink, all at once, right before bed. And here's what that does. After 60, the kidneys lose the ability to hold water efficiently overnight. When a large fluid volume arrives in the evening, even water, the kidneys accelerate filtration to manage it. The bladder begins filling within 40 to 60 minutes. Now add honey to that same timing window. The natural sugars in honey need time to cross into the bloodstream and reach the brain. That process takes 20 to 30 minutes minimum. If you're already asleep by the time the honey is absorbed, the benefit lands too late. The bladder filled before the brain received the signal to slow down, and you wake up again. The timing is everything. Here's what actually works. Take your warm honey drink in small, slow sips, 30 to 40 minutes before you get into bed. Not right before. Not during your medication routine. And keep the fluid volume small. 150 milliliters, roughly half a cup, small enough to be absorbed and utilized before it reaches the kidneys. Sip it slowly over 5 to 8 minutes. Let it absorb. Let the honey's fuel reach the brain before you lie down. That sequence, timing and volume together, is what separates the nights you sleep through from the nights you don't. Now let me address the other side of this. Because I've been telling you what not to mix with honey, let me tell you what actually works. The combination I recommend to patients who struggle with nighttime waking and who want to support their heart health at the same time is simple. Warm water, raw honey, a pinch of mineral-rich salt. Just those three things. Here's why this specific combination works in a way that nothing else quite replicates. The warm water, between 105 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Warm but not hot enough to damage the honey's active compounds. Prepares the stomach for gentle, rapid absorption. The raw honey delivers natural glucose that crosses into the bloodstream quickly and reaches the brain as fuel within 20 to 30 minutes. And the pinch of mineral salt, just one small pinch, barely a quarter teaspoon, no more, does something specific and important. Salt contains electrolytes. Electrolytes help fluids stay in the bloodstream rather than moving immediately into the kidneys. Think of it like this. Plain water poured into the body after 60 moves quickly toward the kidneys. The body at this age doesn't hold fluid as efficiently, but water with the right trace mineral content is recognized by the body as something close to its own fluid balance. It stays in circulation longer. It doesn't trigger the same urgent filtration response. The result, your bladder fills more slowly. Your brain receives steady fuel. The hormonal signal to reduce nighttime urine production has the support it needs to do its job. And critically, your heart doesn't experience the repeated nighttime activation spikes that come from waking, jolting upright, and resetting 2 and 3 times a night. That reduction in nocturnal cardiac stress is something I consider genuinely important for cardiovascular health after 60. Not dramatic, not overnight in the sense of one dose fixing everything, but consistent, nightly, over weeks, measurably protective. Let me walk you through the exact preparation. What you need: warm water, 150 milliliters, roughly half a cup. The temperature matters. Too hot kills the active compounds in honey. Too cold creates a shock response that can actually stimulate the bladder. Warm, comfortable to hold, not scalding. 1 teaspoon of raw, unfiltered honey. Not processed honey from a squeeze bear. Not honey that has been heat-treated for shelf stability. Raw honey from a local source if possible, where the natural enzymes and trace compounds are still intact. How to check. Real raw honey will crystallize over time. If your honey has been sitting in a jar for 6 months and is still perfectly liquid, it's been processed. Find a different source. 1 small pinch of unrefined mineral salt, Himalayan pink salt, Celtic gray salt, or natural sea salt. Not table salt, not iodized salt. Table salt has been stripped of its mineral content. What you want are the trace minerals, magnesium, potassium, calcium, that support fluid retention and electrolyte balance overnight. The amount is critical. 1 small pinch, the amount you'd pick up between 2 fingers, less than a quarter teaspoon. More than that, and you shift from supporting fluid balance to creating the very problem you're trying to solve. The order of preparation. Warm the water first. Add the pinch of salt. Stir until dissolved. Then add the honey and stir gently. Salt first, so the honey doesn't interfere with the salt dissolving. Honey last, so it's not exposed to the hottest water temperature. When to take it? 30 to 40 minutes before bed. not right before you lie down. Sip it slowly over 5 to 8 minutes. Don't gulp it. Sip. Pause. Sip again. Let your body absorb it gradually rather than flooding the system. And then, no additional large fluids after this. If you take evening medications, take them 30 minutes before this drink, not at the same time. Now, I want to address something directly. I know some of you watching this have diabetes or are managing blood sugar carefully. If that's you, the honey and salt water combination is not appropriate in the form I've described. Here's the adjustment. Replace the honey with 7 raw almonds. I know that sounds like a strange substitution, but here's the science behind it. 7 almonds contain roughly 50 milligrams of magnesium. Magnesium is the mineral most responsible for muscle relaxation, including the smooth muscle of the bladder wall. A bladder muscle that is properly relaxed tolerates a moderate volume of urine without urgency. It doesn't send the panic signal at 2 a.m., it waits. And the healthy fats in almonds provide a slow, steady energy source overnight that doesn't spike blood sugar, keeping the brain fueled without the glucose surge. So, for those managing diabetes, warm salt water, the same preparation, the same pinch of mineral salt, sipped slowly 30 minutes before bed, followed by 7 raw almonds, chewed thoroughly, not swallowed whole. That combination supports bladder relaxation, maintains overnight blood sugar stability, and gives the brain what it needs to maintain its nighttime signaling, without the glucose risk. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Dennis, 77 years old, retired contractor, type 2 diabetic for 11 years. He had been waking 3 times every night for over 2 years. His sleep was so broken that he was falling asleep in his chair by 4 p.m. every day. He told me, "I'm exhausted by the time lunch is over. I don't know how much longer I can keep living like this." His cardiologist had noted slightly elevated nighttime blood pressure readings. His endocrinologist was adjusting his medications. Nobody had looked at his evening routine. When I asked Dennis what he was doing before bed, he described a large glass of water with his medications, a processed sleepy time tea with honey, and then lying down within 15 minutes of drinking it all. Everything landing in the kidneys within the same window. No time for the honey to reach the brain. Bladder filling before the hormonal signal could respond. We switched him to the warm salt water with almonds. 30 minutes before bed, sipped slowly. His evening medications moved to 30 minutes earlier. No other large fluids after 7 p.m. 10 days later, he called me. He had slept through the night, uninterrupted, 4 times in those 10 days. The other 6 nights, he woke once instead of 3 times. "I feel like a different person," he said. "I forgot what it felt like to wake up rested." His cardiologist noted at his next visit that his nighttime blood pressure readings had normalized. Dennis hadn't changed his medications. He had changed what he drank and when. Now let me give you the critical mistakes to avoid, because I've seen people hear part of this advice and implement it in ways that make things worse. Mistake 1, using too much salt. More is not better here. Too much salt pulls fluid out of cells and into the bloodstream, raising blood pressure and actually increasing kidney filtration. 1 small pinch, that's all. If you wake up with swollen fingers or ankles, you use too much. Mistake 2, taking it right before lying down. The 30 to 40-minute window is not flexible. If you take it immediately before sleep, the fluid arrives at the kidneys before the honey reaches the brain. You'll wake up earlier, not later. Timing is the intervention. Mistake 3, adding other things to the drink. Lemon, cinnamon, ginger, apple cider vinegar. I hear about all of these additions. Each one changes the chemistry of what you're drinking. Each one introduces compounds that interact with absorption in ways that reduce or eliminate the benefit. Plain warm water, salt, honey. That's it. Resist the urge to improve it. Mistake 4, expecting results in 1 night. Most patients see meaningful change within 3 to 5 nights. Some take a full week. Your brain needs time to reestablish its hormonal signaling patterns. Your bladder needs time to calm its overactivity. Consistency over 7 nights will tell you far more than 1 trial. Here's what to expect as you stay consistent. By nights 2 and 3, many people notice they fall back asleep faster when they do wake. The waking itself becomes lighter, less jarring. The heart-pounding sensation on waking often diminishes. By the end of the first week, most patients I work with report at least 1 or 2 nights of sleeping through completely. The nights they do wake, it's often just once. By the end of 2 to 3 weeks, the pattern is usually clearly established. Nighttime waking is down to once or not at all. Morning energy is noticeably different. The foggy, heavy feeling from broken sleep begins to lift. And here's the cardiovascular benefit that quietly accumulates. Every night, your heart doesn't experience 2 or 3 activation spikes from sudden waking. Is a night your arteries spend in recovery rather than stress. Over weeks and months, that reduction in nocturnal cardiac strain is measurable and meaningful. I want to close with something personal. After more than 20 years of working with patients your age, the complaint I hear most consistently, the one that appears across almost every health conversation I have, is not blood pressure, not joint pain, not weight. It's sleep. I just can't sleep through the night anymore. And what breaks my heart is how often that complaint is dismissed, brushed off as aging, treated with a prescription that creates its own problems. Your sleep is not a minor comfort issue. It is where your heart repairs itself. It is where your immune system does its deepest work. It is where your brain consolidates memory and clears waste. When your sleep is broken night after night, everything else suffers. Energy, mood, blood pressure, cognitive clarity, all of it tied directly to whether your body gets the uninterrupted overnight restoration it was designed for. You deserve that restoration, and more often than most people realize, it's within reach. Not from a prescription, from a small warm cup, taken at the right time, with the right ingredients, in the right amount. I want to hear from you. How many times are you waking up tonight? Type a number in the comments, and then come back in 7 days and tell me what changed. I read every comment, and I genuinely want to know. If this video gave you something useful, if it explains something you've been living with for years, please share it. There is someone in your life right now lying awake at 3 a.m. who needs exactly this information. Subscribe if you haven't already, because every week I bring you the honest, specific conversations that rarely happen in a 15-minute medical appointment. Take care of your sleep. Take care of your heart. Tonight, I hope it's different. Everything in this video is general medical information based on published research and clinical experience. It is not a substitute for your personal medical care. If you have kidney disease, heart failure, or are on blood pressure or blood sugar medications, please speak with your doctor before making changes to your evening fluid or supplement routine.